So we're on, just if you're following the Hebrew, it's on page 85. If you're following the English, it should be on the bottom of 119. Hebrew is 85, the first paragraph, Halom Ra'iti. And in the English, it's going to be that on the bottom of 119. I subsequently discovered. So the last thing he did was a piece in the Chatam Sofer, and he came to the conclusion that that the prophecy about bringing Bnei Yisrael, about people doing tshuva, is going to be the time right before redemption. There'll be afflictions. We'll come to Eretz Yisrael, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, once we're in Eretz Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will change our spirit. Will bring us the Lev Chadash. That was the prophecy of Yechezkel, and then we'll serve Him with a perfect heart. But first, you got to get to Eretz Yisrael. And therefore, he says, I'm correct that as long as we're in Chutz La'aretz, we're not going to be able to really recognize and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We first have to get to Eretz Yisrael, which is what he's trying to say. And now if I saw as well in the Sefer Orach Chaim Kadosh, is Perush and Vayikra, Shekotav Gam Ken Mamish Kedev Rabbeinu Chatam Sofer, that he wrote exactly like the Chatam Sofer, that we have to get to Israel first. The Achar Tokav Atzarot She'avru Aleinu Yavo Oton L'Eretz HaKadosh. After all the troubles that he brought upon us, he will bring us to the Holy Land. V'zel L'Shano, and this is actually what he says. Maybe is that the right place in the Orach Chaim Kadosh? For you guys, maybe not. Where was it in the Hebrew? So actually no, in the English, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong place. In the English, I believe it's on page 120. My mistake, me bad, the English is 120. Right. Okay, yeah, page 120 is where we are in the English. So what does the Orach Chaim write? So he says exactly like the Chatam Sofer, the Achar Tokav Atzarot, She'avru Yavo Oton L'Eretz HaKadosh. After all the troubles that he's going to bring to us Eretz Yisrael, V'zel L'Shanon, here's what he said. Ubashadet B'gadav V'lavash B'gadim Achirim V'otziet Hadeshna Makom Tahar. That talks about the Kohen is going to separate the ashes from the Mizbeach, and he's going to bring them outside, which means bring his B'gadim. He says he's going to bring the ashes outside to the Makom Tahar. I'm sorry, page 1. No, I was right. I'm right. I'm right. I just got confused because I didn't have my book with me last time. So therefore, if you look carefully, he says, commenting on this pasuk, that the begadim are going to bring more mishpat b'osei ra'atov v'achshav. The Orach Chaim is bringing something that's really very kind of off the topic here. He's saying that the later Golus was worse than the early Golus, and that we're going to wear these begadim that are kind of make us better. Until the people who are trying to make us evil are actually going to be done with. You're right, this is not exactly the way it's written in the Hebrew. I'll take it umiyad yikabes nefutzo tav. You know what? You're right. I'm not sure exactly where it is in the English. It might be before. You're right. I was correct the first time. The bottom of 119. I'm confusing you guys. Okay, good. Okay, so it's referring to bringing the begadim out. My mistake. Okay, bottom of 119. So right. So the first begadim that the Kohen was wearing before he changed them were the begadim that Hashem will bring to justice our persecutors. Now, however, that comes to benefit us and take us out of the galut as well. And therefore the Kohen was going to change into different begadim, which are begadim of hatava, which are going to be begadim of goodness and benevolence. Ki lo ya'kev kibutz galiot ad klot aseh rasha, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't going to hold us back until after he kills out all the evildoers. He'll take of miyad kabeis nefutzotav. He will bring together all the people from the exile. He will yotzi otanu mi machaneh rishon nashim harshoim al makom tahar. He's going to take us out to the place of a tahar. What the Orach Chaim Kadosh is really talking about is he's saying what's going on with the Kohen is a symbol about the Jewish people. Now, the Kohen changes from one set of garments to another set of garments, takes out the ashes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do this to the Jewish people. There will come a time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes us out It takes us out of the galut, even before he has actually completely cleaned things out, so to speak. And he takes us out to the Makom Tahar, which will be Eretz Yisrael Torah. Eretz Amim Heim Tmeah, He Vafra Vafilu Abira, even the land of the Eretz Amim, even the air of Eretz Amim. Ve'ein Lecha Makom Shikarei Tahar Zulat Eretz Kedusha. The only place which is Tahar is the land of Eretz Yisrael. So the whole theme of what is going on in this pasuk is not about the Kohen, is really meant as a drash or a remez or a sod or a Kabbalah, which is telling us about what will happen to the Jewish people. And the Ar Chaim is writing, and Kadosh Baruch Hu will take us there as well, even before he gets rid of all the reasons why we're in such trouble. And since HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to try to get us out from all this terrible place of the Galut, even before he gets rid of all the baddies, all the bad people, this will happen before the final Gula. Why? There you go, there's your rain. When the final Gula Goel will come, there will not be anyone who can hurt the Jewish people. Al kol ponim, shnei anafim kirabasinu ar kadosh v'achatam sofim and damdim b'signon achad. Therefore, the Ar Chaim HaKadosh is saying the same thing as the Chatam Sofer, that God will take us to the land, the holy land, the pure land, even before He gets rid of the Oseim, the people who are doing Osei Rasha. God will take us to Israel. It doesn't say once again how God will take us. We've had this discussion, but God will cause us to go to Israel even before the Geulah is coming, and even before He will get rid of all the evildoers. It must be therefore clear that He's talking about our own generation. And V'agav, He's going to say, I got another piece I'm going to quote from the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, so I'm not sure that I really want to go through this. It's a little bit of a topic off topic. Maybe we'll just skip through the next paragraph. And we'll go back, maybe we'll skip over to page 86. I'm going to skip 2 paragraphs here because it's really tangential. And in the English, we're going to go to page 121 where he says, let's return to the beginning. Okay, only because I think it's becoming repetitive, and so this is really about completely something unrelated. It's about the redemption from Egypt, so it's not related to his theme itself. Now I'm going to come back to what I said initially, which is my first premise, that all the things, the terrible things that are happening to us are the kick in the pants that He gives to us to awaken us that we have to go to Artzeinu HaKadoshah. This is one of His primary ideas. V'shamati bazeh davar no'eh mishma Rabbeinu ish Elokim HaKahan HaKadosh Rabbeinu Bunam B'sichta. He says, I heard something from this great individual who is No'eh, Davar No'eh, in the name of Rabbeinu, Rabbi Psichta, the Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. Pasuk Mishkani Mashcheni Acharecha Narutza. Pull me that I will follow you. This actually is a very important piece of Rav Teichel. It's often quoted. The Birokach. God says in Shir Hashirim Mashcheni. He says, draw me, Acharecha Narutza, I will run after you. Now that's a contradiction. Either you're going to pull me, or I'm going to run after you. What is the Kadosh Baruch Hu doing? In Shir Hashirim, of course, these are 2 lovers speaking. One is Bnei Yisrael, Knesset Yisrael, one is the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So is God pulling us, or are we running after God? So what's the be'er? The Hinei b'kniyas behema, when you acquire an animal, there are 2 types of Meshicha. To acquire something, you have to show possession in halacha. So if I were to acquire this book, how would I show that I acquire it? You give it to me as a gift. I do hagbah. I pick it up. I could walk with the book. I could take the book and show it's mine. If I have land, how do I show the land is mine?
Make a change.
I change, I make an improvement in the land. Or according to Avram, walked around the boundaries of the land. If I walk around the boundaries of the land unimpeded, that shows that I'm doing a kinyan on land. I can't steal land that way, but it shows a way to acquire it. So, and we do these type of kinyanim when we're doing a halachic process. So, for example, at a get today, which is a halachic separation and division of a husband and wife, right? What the wife does when she gets the get, she receives the get. She receives it in her hands. This is her yad is makabelet. She picks it up. She then shows everybody she's doing hagbah. She puts it under her, I think, left left shoulder, and she walks up and down with it because she's showing she now owns the get. She has received the get. This is a very important part of it to show that the husband has given the get to his wife, and she has actually gotten possession of the get. Am I making sense? I'm saying this comes up when we do chametz with the guy. When we sell chametz to the guy, we're doing a halachic acquisition, we're doing a legal document, but when the guy actually gets the chametz, he pays money for it, they use a handkerchief, they use kinyan sudar. Many times the guy will pick up some of the chametz, not pick up all the chametz, you pick up some of the chametz to show he's acquiring all the chametz. What many times the Rav will do is they will rent to the guy a closet where some of the chametz is stored. Because then it becomes a kinyan agav. You're acquiring the chametz. Not only the chametz is there, but all the chametz agav indirectly as part of acquiring the lease on this closet. And what the Rabbi usually does, what I used to do is I would take a couple of screws out of the thing and tell the guy he'd have to put the screws in like on the wall plate. Take the wall plate of the light switch off and he'd have to put them in. Sometimes the old European Rabbanim would give the guy a nail and say put a nail into the wall. Okay, but how many nails could you pull and put in every year? Besides, it's not really a tikkun. Like, if your wall plate falls off, the light switch falls off, you really can't. You want to fix that.
True.
So therefore, you're saying to him, you fix your own room, you fix the room. So that's another. So we try to do all these kinyanim. So one of the kinyanim that you do with an animal that you can't pick up, and if I wanted to acquire a puppy dog, I could pick up the dog, but I want to acquire a cow, I can't pick it up. It's called kinyan meshicha. I pull the animal, and the animal comes because I'm pulling it. That shows that I'm now acquiring the animal. That is the actual acquisition. By the way, when you buy in a supermarket an item, when do you acquire it? This is a very big machloket.
Yeah. When you walk out the store.
When you walk out the store?
No, the cash.
When you pay the cash. This possibly, it actually may be when you pick it up. When you're picking it up, you take it off the shelf and you put it in your cart. You're acquiring it on the condition that you're going to pay for it. But
if you put it back on the shelf?
Then you aren't acquiring it. But if you break it, you bought it. You know, when they say you break it, you bought it, that may actually be true. If you picked it up and you acquired it, now you broke it, you're responsible. It happens to be in the supermarket, if you'll drop that bottle of ketchup and it smatters, they'll come clean it up for you. But that's really maybe lifnim yishuat din because they don't want your business. But anyway, so all I'm saying is that this is with an animal. An animal you can't pick up, but you can do mashicha, you can pull the animal. This was very common. So the Gemara talks about two different types of mashicha.
But here it also says if you just say come Betsy.
Right, so if you cause the animal to come, even if you call the animal without a rope, that's also causing it to come. Sometimes I gotta pull the animal, sometimes I have a relation with the animal and the animal will come with me.
Yeah, like a dog.
Right.
How can I have a relation with the animal when it was not mine until now?
Well, you know what okay. You know the joke about the fellow who bought the horse. And he bought it from a Yid, and the Yid said, I want to tell you something. If you want to make the horse stop, you have to say Amen. And you want to make the horse go, you say Baruch Hashem. You say Baruch Hashem, the horse goes, and Amen, the horse stops. And of course, he gets on the horse, and he says Baruch Hashem, and the horse keeps going. And the horse is galloping, and it comes to the edge of the cliff. He doesn't know what to say. What do I say? What's the magic word? What do I say? What is it? Oraisa, Torah, Mujabana? Oh, finally, Amen. And he comes to the edge of the thing, and he says, Baruch Hashem. So not every animal is attuned to the specifics that you are. But sometimes you train the dog to hear a whistle to come. So you're buying a dog, you're buying an animal. Well, the animals have been trained that certain sounds will make them come. So if you make that sound, it may be responsive as well, even though it's not you're just acquiring the cow. But you're right. The most common case is Mashiach that you pull. You like the joke, okay? It's not a new one. Okay, there we go. So at any rate, there are different types of Mashiach. Look how he makes the comparison here for an animal. This I told you, this is a quote of Rav Teichler that's mentioned. I've seen quoted in a lot of other places where they're quoting him. One is you call the animal and it follows you. The second one is where the animal doesn't really want to come. You got to give it a bit of a knack. You give it a bit of a patch with a makel, and it runs in front of you. So these are two ways that the Gemara talks about actually doing kinyan meshicha. The simple ways, of course, you pull it, but this looks like an animal that you're doing in different kinds of ways. The Gemara is exploring how far meshicha can be. So both of these types of things, calling the animal and it comes under your command, or hitting the animal and it runs by itself, it runs because you hit it, you are going to acquire the animal through Mashiach. In the first case, where he calls it, the Balabait goes, and the animal goes after and the animal follows the Balabait. In the second case, you hit the animal, the animal goes ahead of you, the animal's running, and you're walking behind it. Which is the better type of Mashiach that benefits the animal most? The one that the animal will enjoy better and not have as much pain is where you call the animal and the animal comes. There's no hurt to the animal, no pain. The second, when you hit the animal and the animal runs because you're hurting it, and is suffering from the pain. This is the comparison to the pasuk in Shir Hashirim. We're like to this HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Binyan Kriyatol Yishuv L'Eretz Yisrael, and I'm being called back to Eretz Yisrael, which is really what Kol Dodi is all about. If we hear God's voice, who's calling us, or we hear those who are calling us, they're calling us in God's name to come to Israel. And this here is the stretch, of course, because the Zionism is not calling us in God's name. We go willingly. It's like the animal. We're not going to have any trouble and difficulties in getting beaten. We go on our own. God will lead us, God calls us, and we follow God on our own will, with pride and no difficulty. If we don't go by ourselves, we're not responsive to God's call, we wait until finally, they lose patience and we get hit. God hits us. It's going to be the second type, which is really about hitting the animal with the staff, and it runs in front of me. And we'll suffer from all the beats and hittings that we're being hit by our enemies until we run with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Eretz Yisrael because then we're hurting. We say to Hashem Yisparach, pull me, call me, and I will follow after you. So that's the first one. Call us, and we will follow behind you, like the first way, the one with no pain. Like the type of Mashiach. It's a good analogy. Will come just by you calling us. You'll call us through the tzaddikim of the generation. The tzaddikim will call us to come back to Israel. If the tzaddikim would call us, we would follow and we'd march without any difficulty. But don't make us come back to Israel by hitting us with the makel, that we're going to return not of our own will, just we're forced to come based on being hit by the staff. Then we have to run before him. We're going to run in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is the quote that he brings in the name of HaBanim Chap1. And that's, he says, what's going on. Unfortunately, the tzaddikim have not called us, is what he's saying. If the tzaddikim would have called us to go to Israel, we would go differently. But the tzaddikim have said, wait in Galut, wait in the diaspora until HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows you the Beis Mikdash coming down from on high. We're waiting. Now we're getting the second type of Mashiach, which is we're being beaten by our enemies.
But it seems that since Hashem is guiding everything, that he is allowing the other nations to whip us into moving into Israel.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly what he's saying. It's the will of God that we're being whipped into going to Israel. Not that we're being whipped as a punishment, not that we're being whipped for whatever. The theological response is there is a purpose to this. Mm-hmm. It's a very difficult way. It's a difficult thing to say that the whole Holocaust was a way to get the Jewish people to go to Eretz Yisrael because there are a lot of karbanot. But that's really what he's saying.
Well, I was going to say, almost by extension, that if the tzaddikim were already in Eretz Yisrael and calling us, that would make it even stronger.
Well, I think
in other words, they should be the first to go there.
Well, they should have been, yes, right. Or they should have actually been urging their people to go. Right? In point of fact, many of the tzaddikim actually were smuggled out of Europe and did get to Eretz Yisrael. Many of those who rebuilt their own Hasidic dynasties were able to be brought out of Europe, sometimes with the help of the Zionist machinery, and they actually began to rebuild their own Hasidim after the war because of that. But this was after they had denied their Hasidim the understanding that they should go to Eretz Yisrael. So the call. He's addressing this largely to when he's speaking about tzaddikim, the tzaddikim that he knows, who are primarily your Hungarian rabbanim. The Hungarian rabbinate was very much anti people going to Israel. Right? The Munkachi was anti anyone leaving anywhere. He was afraid they would just be swallowed up by assimilation, even Israel. I think I told you. I want to repeat this. If I said this, my wife's grandparents came to Dublin, and they came from Munkach. And he was, I think he told you, he was a salt merchant, and all the shlichim stayed there. They got permission from the Munkachi Rebbe to leave Munkach. This is really the 20s, or maybe even the early 30s, because he trusted that they would remain traditional, religious. And they did. And that's why he was a home that was like an island. But it was very rare that he would allow his Hasidim to even leave Munkach. Some of it was a concern about the whole world was caving in terms of religious commitment. He didn't know what would happen to them. And as a result, they didn't go anywhere, not anywhere else in Europe, and not even to Eretz Yisrael.
What was the process of when you buy a Jewish slave?
You have him for 7 years.
No, but how do you purchase him? How do you acquire him?
You sells himself, or the Beitins, either he sold himself because he had no cash, or he committed a crime and he had to pay it and he had no cash to pay off the crime. That's when there were slave markets. I'm not sure the connection.
And to show, no, you're talking about acquiring something. How do you acquire a slave?
I think with kesef. There are different forms of acquisition. The whole first parak of Masechet Kiddushin deals with different forms of acquisition. Begins with acquisition of a wife. We gotta be careful. We don't know how we're going there today, right? But that is a form of kinyan. Then it talks about avadim, Eved Kanani. It talks about Eved Ivri. That's all the whole of the Mishnayot of the first parak. But I believe it's really kesef kinyan or ishtara. You form a document. Okay, but it's not Mashiach. Mashiach is strictly for an animal that is just you're showing that you own it, that you're causing it to move under your own power. So the chiddush of the Gemara is, even if I don't actually pull it directly, I cause other forms for it to move. I call it, and because of my call, it comes clearly because I'm calling it, or I hit it. Right? The animal is moving because I hit it. That's also considered Mashiach for an animal. Okay, here we go. Moving along. V'chazeg devrei Rabbeinu. In the Divrei Medrash Tehillim, I'm going to support Rav Yunim's interpretation with the Medrash in Tehillim that says the Kol HaKot HaBa'im Al Yisrael Aydeshim Nevakshim Et Eretz Yisrael Aval Achar HaKot Kvar Hema Ratzim Eretz Yisrael. That the Medrash in Tehillim seems to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all the makot that we're getting is because we don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. But after we get the makot, we want to go to Eretz Yisrael. Kasher masim dizmanenu mochichim, like the situations of our time seem to say. In other words, this is what he was writing about was, of course, hundreds of years earlier. But this is practical in our time. The kulam heim ratzim l'Eretz Yisrael heim yicholim. If anyone could get out to Israel now in 1943, they'd go. Even those who were opposed to the aliyah, the different aliyot that were being done in the beginning of the 20th century, if they could get on a boat now, they would go. But the reason they want to go now, these people who were opposed to the aliyot to Yisrael, was because they're being hit by the stick. I skipped something? Let me finish the paragraph. If they had listened to the voice of tzaddikim that had woken up to this, which looks like me, okay? Everybody wants to go now because it's being hit, but if we were smart, we would have heard the call before, or the call would have been before, we would have gone by ourselves. Yes.
I don't know how he can say this in 1943.
Yeah.
How does he know that it is ready to save heaven? It was before. It's only after Allenby came from the south, because until then, how did he know that Hitler, Rommel won't take Israel also?
So the answer was they didn't know. They did not know, but that was a safek. In other words, Rommel is going. This is the Africa Corps. That Rommel is going through Africa, where he was stopped.
By all signs, it looked like
it looked pretty bad. It looked pretty bad. Correct. It looked very bad, and no one actually even knew how he was going to come. No one knew. There was a concern. Most of the logic is he was going to come up the coast. There was some intelligence that said he was actually going to go through Jordan. They had some kind of pact with Jordan, like a non-belligerence pact, come through Jordan and attack Eretz Yisrael from the east, which would have been very much more complex.
Looks like a miracle that he didn't.
It was a miracle. It was a miracle he was defeated in El Alamein. Correct, and he was turned back. But at that point, that's a safek. Right? At that point in 1943, that was surely better than being in where they were in Europe, which was they knew what was going on. Sure, people were being deported all the time. So the people who were in Tel Aviv, nobody left. They were preparing. Right? They were turning the major parks into potential graveyards. They were digging graves. They expected there to be terrible destruction, but they were hoping that they'd come out of this in one piece, even if there had been a lot of carbonate. But that was still surely a better choice than what was going on in Europe.
Okay. He's using this example here that if they...
By the way, he may not have known what was going on in North Africa. Right. He's got very limited connections at this point. He's running. He's hiding. He's a refugee. Okay. But at any rate, even if he did, it's still a better choice. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that he's saying here that if they knew, they would move to Israel.
Right.
Yet we have the example of Egypt, where they knew, and Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to get them out of there, and they said, "No, we'll stay here."
Only 1/5 went out. True. Yeah. So sometimes even when they know, it does not cause them to make the decision. Good. Okay. Good points. Now, according to this, I can explain the Medrash, which is in the introductory parts, the Medrash on Eicha. Eicha Rabbah is a Medrash on Eicha. It follows the chapters, but before it opens up in chapter 1, there's a number of introductions, very long introductions. What it means introductions? They were like drashot that rabbis used to give, talking about the whole concept of what the Churban was. So this is why it's called the Psichta, the Hakdamot le'Eicha. It's like saying a Pticha to a Sefer, but it's very long. It's like one after the other, so it doesn't follow the chapter by chapter. It's more of this long introductory piece. It's in Midrashic format, and it says he's quoting there from the Psichta, the Eicha in Psichta Yud Aleph, the 11th Psicha, because the 11th Drush, so to speak. Ilu zachitem hayitem korim b'Torah. That it says that the Jewish people have been worthy, they would have been able to read in the Torah the following statement: "To be emo v'sito emo b'har nachlascha." You will bring them and you will plant them in. You will implant them in the mountain of your nachla, of your inheritance. V'achshav shelo zachitem. And now that we're not worthy, hareyatem korim. You're going to read ki tavo. Tavo kol ratam lefenecha. All the bad will come before you. This is the drush. Had you been good and done the mitzvot, God would have planted you in har nachlatecha. Now that you didn't, you're going to be planted and see all the bad that's coming before you. Akan. This is the end of the quote. Hakavana dilo zchitem hayitem aliyah le'Eretz Yisrael b'derech mishkano meshcheni v'acharecha narutz. And now he's commenting. Had the Jewish people done things properly, then they would have gone to Eretz Yisrael properly, and God would be following a Kodesh Baruch, and He'd call them. Hainu b'bchinat korei lo v'olechad acharav, like the animal is called and follows the owner. V'hainu tvi eino. This is what it means to be emo, where it means that He will bring them. Kamo mishamochlich umevi la'acher. Someone will bring something else or someone else. Sheolech barosh. He's in the front. V'acher nimshach. He's bringing someone with him who's following him. V'achshav shelo zachitem. And now that you didn't follow God, shelo retzitem limashech achar kol hakriya shel tzadikim. You didn't want to follow the voice of the tzadikim. Uchrach hayel liot b'derech hashni b'bchinat hakisha b'makel v'ratzta lefanav. It's going to be the second way which you get hit. Kamo kain kan haymuchach liot aydi hakavet tzorot rabot va'ot. V'zeu shetnitzak tavol karatam lefenecha. The same way you'll cry out that all the wickedness will come before you. Through the wickedness you acquired, the wickedness that you've set up, that has happened to you. You ran before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, it's just a play on word between Tivi Emo, that the Medrash says if you did things rightly, He would bring you, and in fact you did things badly, you came, you were hit, and you ran ahead of HaKadosh Baruch Hu kilo. Hainu sha'ara'ot have yichol liot b'bchirat lefanecha k'mo ratzta lefanecha lefanav u'k'mo she'anu ro'im b'zmanenu she'akol rotzim le'et Yisrael idei ha'kaot she'yisigom v'yinachom liot v'emet. Simply just a sidebar to what he's saying. He's comparing what the Medrash in Eicha is saying, that you didn't go to Hanaf Latecha, you came to all the bad, you didn't do the mitzvot. He's trying to adjust this kind of Medrash to refer to his situation. It's not exactly what the Medrash is saying. The Medrash is more talking about the fact that the Jewish people came to Israel and didn't inherit the Nachala. They got thrown out with the Churban Abayit. Why? They got the bad thrown in front of them. He's trying to say the same thing happens to us in our time. We didn't follow what we're supposed to do, so we're actually being pushed and pulled and hit in a way that we're going to force us to carry it out. It's just an extension.
Do you remember that movie, Build It in the Field of Dreams, I think it was called?
Build it, they will come. Very
you know.
good.
Right? Okay.
Baseball analogies are not loud, though.
No, that's right.
They're
Okay,
Amish.
Let me finish up to the next paragraph. Okay, Kapot Marim, and the Sefer Kapot Marim is a commentary on, I believe, on Rosh Hashanah. Yes, the author of Kapot Marim, it's a kuntres called Yom Teruah. Kapot Marim was written by. We wrote two sefer. One is Kapot Marim, which is on Sukkot, and one is Yom Teruah, which is on Rosh Hashanah. So it's a tall book, but a skinny book. The pasuk Tzion the Reish Ein La. When commenting on the pasuk in Yirmiyahu, that says Tzion, the Reish Ein La, no one cares about her. Katab, the Perush, the High Kra is Yisrael Hayu Mitramim Al Tzaratehem. The Jewish people are complaining about their troubles. Al Ken Shalach Hashem Dvaro V'Yamar. God sends Yirmiyahu to say, Ma Tem Mitramim. What are you complaining about? Do I have not? Am I unable to be Moshe to save you? That your sins caused you to be bereft. The Tzion, the Reisha Ein La, that Zion, no one is calling for. She cries out to me that you don't remember her, but how can I remember you to bring you, because you didn't do what you're supposed to do? It says, he tries to make a drash here. If we were to remember Zion, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu would actually be saving us. So it's one additional subset to all of the entire place. Okay, we're going to stop here. If you look in the English notes, it calls it a separate title here. One is that the actual Gula will come at a time of extreme hardship and poverty. That's the last piece of chapter 1. And then the very last piece of this, he has a little piece he writes to about American Jews. Okay, so it doesn't write about Canadian Jews. Okay, but actually what he says is that the Jews in America are actually, this will be interesting, you will probably have something to say about this. The Jews in America are suffering because we're suffering in Europe. So, because one of the issues is, if it's so bad, right, and we're being taken there to Israel, how come the Jews and Jews in America are sitting back and having such a good time? Yeah. And the answer is, he suggests that they also suffer, because when they see other Jews suffering, the Goyim say, look at your people are being sent to concentration camps. It's a pegia, it's a what do you call a diss of the Jewish people in America. We'll do that next on Tuesday. I really would like to try to finish this next time we come together. I'm going to see if I can. Or finish the first parak so I can get on to the second parak. See if we can do it with your help.
Excellent.